If you're just getting into vibe coding, which is just using plain English to speak to an AI agent like Replit or Cursor or Claude for them to build you an app or a website, then welcome to the revolution. You might be building a to-do list with reminders, you might be building a customer and order tracking system, or many other things, and these AI agents can build all these things without you having to have any coding skills at all. And that's amazing. Until it's not. Even though you don't have to become a coder, there are some basic things that you want to know. So in this intro video, I'm going to talk to you about one of the most common things that people may not realize is being built in the background. That is a storage system that is called a database. You want to make sure this is being built correctly, because if it's not, your system might work okay today, but as you grow and expand or you add other features, then it's going to break and you're going to spend a bunch of tokens to completely restructure it on the back end. And I want to help you avoid that. If you don't know me, I am Michael Firey and I run Fireytech, and I have over 25 years of experience working with databases and websites. Let's fire it up. If you're going to make a real app that's really used by people and it's going to grow, then you want to make sure that this database portion of the system is built correctly. Normally, when you're working with your AI agent, you've got a prompt where you type and you have a conversation. But in all of these AI agent apps, there's going to be a section that you can look at to see some of the background things. And a lot of that is coding that you don't want to mess with. But the one thing you do want to look at is the databases section. And this is where it creates all the little storage places for you. These storage places are called tables. Now your AI agent may be trying to help you out and make everything into one database table. If we try to put everything into one table or storage place, then you're going to have this really big table. And you're going to have your customer name. Then you're going to have all their information. You're going to have their phone, their email, their ID number. And that's just a unique number given to every customer's record so that it stands out from all the others. You'll have address fields. That's going to be your address, your city, state, zip, and all of that. If you're selling a product, then you're going to have orders. You may also have a company name if you're selling to a company. And there may be many other fields that relate to your particular project, but we're going to keep this somewhat simple. If you're dealing with someone that has more than one address, more than one phone number, then you're going to have separate fields for, let's say, email to. If they have a second address, then you're going to have an address, city, state, and zip, all as another field in your table. Your customer might have multiple contacts. If you're going to do that, then you're going to have a phone 2, maybe a phone 3. So as you can see, if you've got all these multiple items and they're all stored in one storage place, in one table, then you're going to have all of these fields that are going to create problems. Each individual entry into your database is called a record. So if you have a customer that buys more than one thing over time, then you're going to have a record for every order. So every order record is going to have all this same information again. The problem with that is, let's say on the second order, when they do it, they've now got a different address. They've now got a different phone number. Well, there's no mechanism in place to go back to the original first order's record and update those things. And so you're going to end up with these different customer records with orders that have different email addresses, phone numbers, addresses, and there's no way to update that in one movement. So when you've got two different records, you might say, well, I'll just delete this one record. Well, if you have your orders information in this record, then you're losing the order information to get rid of the duplicate customers. So this is not the best way. Hopefully, your AI agent is smart enough to know not to build it this way, but you as the prompter need to make sure that this is not happening on the front end, or else you're going to have a lot of problems on the back end. So what's the better way? It involves having different storage locations, which are called tables. You want to have a parent storage place, a parent table, and then every other table links to that parent. So let's say that you are selling products. For that to work, you're going to have customers, you're going to have products that you sell. Those customers are going to have addresses. Those customers are going to have contact information. Customers are going to have order information. And all of these can be best organized into different tables. Let's start with the customer parent record. The key to making these different tables talk to each other is to have identifying numbers or values that we call ID numbers. So every customer you create is going to have their own customer ID. This will be linked to the other tables. I try to keep any contact information, any address information, any order information out of this particular parent table. The idea behind it is you don't want to put anything in here where there could be more than one for that entity. For example, a customer is probably only going to have one company name. You can safely put in a company name. You do need some sort of information in the customer's table for that table to work correctly. Other fields that aren't going to have duplicates are things like a customer type. This is a residential customer versus a commercial customer. You can have customer source. That can be word of mouth, heard about us on Google, drove by our office. That's how they found you. That's the source of the customer. You can have date tracking. So you can say this is the date they were created. A date last edited. There's a lot of other fields you can add here, so I don't want to get off too far into the weeds. Now we want to deal with the things that can have multiple records. So a customer might have multiple contacts. So we're going to create a contacts table. Now this is a parent. And all the other records are going to be child records. So in your contacts table, the first thing with every record is going to be an ID number. So in this case, it's going to be a contact ID. The reason you would have multiple contacts potentially is you might have one person who is the owner. You might have another contact who's the buyer. You might have a completely different contact that's your accounts payable contact. So in the contacts table, that's where you're going to put all your contact fields. That'll be your names, first name, last name, phone numbers. That can be their office phone, their cell phone, and you're going to put in their email addresses. And there's a ton of other fields that you can add. I'm going to keep it simple and stop at that particular set of contact fields. But now we have to create a relationship. If we just create a contact table and a contact record, so a record is the individual information for that person, and we don't create some sort of relationship between these two, then your app is not going to understand how to join these together. So it's going to join it based on customer ID. This tells the system, okay, this contact belongs to this customer ID. So this is going to have this customer ID entered right here. So if this was customer ID 35, then this customer ID is going to be 35. And this could be your contact ID 263. So the contact ID is completely independent of the customer ID. But because of this relationship, the system knows that this contact, which is contact ID 263, belongs to customer ID 35, which is this customer. Now let's go to addresses. Same principle applies. You're going to have your address ID. You're going to have your address fields. You know, and that's your normal address, suite number, city, state, zip, all that. I'm just not writing that in here. You might have an attention to. When the part arrives, who needs to be notified that it's there? Who does it need to be given to? You might put in other things like a gate code or things like that. I mean, again, there's a lot of specifics that you might need for your system. The next thing we want to do is we want to link this to a customer ID. So we're going to do the same thing we did here. This address belongs to this customer. Now, the attention brings up an interesting item. You can link this contact who needs to be alerted to your contacts table. So now this is going to link to this contact ID. So you're going to have 263. And this allows you to not have to hand type into this contacts record what customer it is. You don't have to hand type into your form that this is Bobby Sue. This is all linked by drop downs on your forms that allows you to select any contacts from this customer or any addresses from this customer in your other forms. Again, this is a child record. The next child record you're going to have for a customer when you're providing products is you're going to have an orders child table. Same thing here. We're going to have an order ID. Let's assign address ID. Let's say this is 37. These different counts are in these different tables because you might have, 100 customers, but you might have 500 contacts. You might have 300 addresses. So these numbers are just going to be what record number was this in each individual table. So on your orders, let's say you've done a lot of sales. So let's say this is order 5,782. So in your orders, you might have a product ID. So that tells you for this order, we're selling this product, which of course means we're going to have a products table. Now the beauty of this is the products table isn't directly linked to a customer. So this is an independent table that allows you to store however many hundreds or thousands or 5 or 10 products that you have. So again, you're going to have a product ID for every individual product that you sell. Let's say that we've got product number 6 because we don't have a lot. So now this order will be linked to this product ID. The beauty of this is if your products table has things like product name, product type, and all these different fields, then when you select a product ID on your form, you can set your form to automatically grab all of these items without having to hand type them on your order form. And you're going to have basic things like order, date. And again, this is not a comprehensive field list. I'm just trying to give you the basic principles. So in this order, one thing that's important is it needs to know a lot of these different details. So on your order form, you're going to have your customer ID. You're going to have a contact ID. And you're going to have an address ID. So our customer ID is going to be 35. Our contact ID, if we assume this is the contact that's responsible for the order, we're going to say that's 263. And our address ID is going to be number 37. So you can see that this links to this customer. This links to this customer contact ID, if I can say it right. And this address ID links to this address. So here's the beauty. Let's say you get into the order stage and you find out the address is wrong. Then you can go to the address record, edit it here, and it flows through the entire system. Next time you pull up the customer, the address is going to be correct. The order is pulling from the ID number, so if I've edited this address, then it obviously works back to the orders table. Now when you build your forms, you're going to have a customer's form, and you might have different tabs. You have your main customer tab, then you have your contacts tab, your addresses tab, your orders tab, and by having those different things on your forms, it pulls all of these things together onto those forms. And so you might have a form that has different pieces of these all displaying for you. This entire ecosystem is called a relational database. This is the best long-term way to keep track of all of these pieces of information in an organized fashion so that edits can be made system-wide. You want to make sure that the customer's parent table uses a customer ID. The contacts uses a contact ID, address ID, order ID, product ID. By building this foundation, your agent will better understand how things play together as it continues to build and you expand on it. If you got value from this introduction, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. If you need any guidance, go to fireytech.com/contact. We're happy to build your apps for you, or we can set up a consult and try to help you get over the hump if you're stuck on something in particular. I'll see you in the next video.